While the Western world was recovering from the holidays, a grainy video out of Chengdu sent a dead chill through the Pentagon. A massive tailless aircraft roaring over a highway in broad daylight. This wasn't CGI. It wasn't concept art. It was metal in the air. The internet dubbed it the Sky Monster, the J-36, a sixth-generation fighter prototype flying years before Western analysts predicted it could even exist. By January 2026, it wasn't just a single lucky test article. 4 separate prototypes were confirmed to be in active flight testing. Now compare that to the White House podium a few months later. President Trump announces America's answer, the F-47 Phoenix, promising enemies will never see it coming. But there is a massive, glaring problem. The F-47 is a contract, a promise, a piece of paper signed with Boeing. The J-36 is real. While Washington signs deals, Beijing is flying sorties. We aren't just losing a design race. We are losing the industrial war. And by the time you realize why, the sky might already belong to Beijing. To understand why that highway footage panicked Washington, you have to look at the race we are actually in. For 30 years, the United States owned the sky. The F-22 Raptor had no rival. But that era of guaranteed air superiority is dead. We are now fighting for air dominance. This means a system of systems. A quarterback jet controlling swarms of AI drones, linked by lasers and operating in total silence. The US planned to field this in the 2030s. We thought we had time. But the Air Force's own acquisition chief, Andrew Hunter, said the quiet part out loud. China is on a wartime footing, and they are about to beat us to the punch. The biggest bottleneck preventing America from moving forward? Engines. The American sixth-generation engine program, NGAP, or Next Generation Adaptive Propulsion, has officially slipped. In July 2025, the Air Force confirmed a brutal 2-year delay, pushing the engine's readiness back to 2030. Meanwhile, the J-36 is already flying with a propulsion system that defies conventional logic. While we wait for committee reviews, China is bolting engines to airframes and pushing the throttles to the stop. But what exactly is pushing this monster through the sky? The answer breaks every rule of physics we thought we knew. Look at the satellite imagery from the Lopner test site in August 2025. This thing breaks every rule of modern fighter design. First, it's massive. Estimates place it at 75 feet long, with a takeoff weight of 60 tons. That's not a fighter. That's a light bomber. It is physically larger than their own J-20 and significantly heavier than the F-22. Why build it so big? Survival in the Pacific. The PLA knows it can't beat the US Navy if its jets have to refuel every 500 miles. Tankers are massive, slow radar targets. The J-36 circumvents this by carrying enough internal fuel to fly 8,000 kilometers. That puts Guam, Hawaii, and US carrier battle groups at severe risk without the jet ever needing to call a vulnerable tanker. But the real nightmare is the engines. The J-36 is a tri-jet. It uses 3 engines, likely 2 main WS-15 turbofans, plus a third, completely different engine buried deep inside the fuselage. Western engineers will tell you this is insane. 3 engines mean triple the thermal friction, triple the maintenance nightmare, and a massive infrared signature screaming across the sky. But China is playing an entirely different game. That third engine isn't just for thrust. It's a flying power plant. 6th-gen warfare needs megawatts of electricity. AESA radars, electronic warfare jammers, and eventual directed energy weapons demand more juice than a standard twin-engine setup can provide. The J-36 essentially operates as an airborne battleship. Combine that raw power with a smart skin. Research leaked through Chinese academic journals suggests the J-36 utilizes a reconfigurable, intelligent surface. Instead of just deflecting radar, the skin is capable of actively harvesting electromagnetic waves from the environment. This might be the exact reason for the aircraft's sheer, massive surface area. It doesn't need to outturn an F-22 in a dogfight. It just needs to see it, jam its sensors, and kill the tanker fueling it from 4,000 kilometers away. But America's response might be an even bigger and much more dangerous gamble. Facing this monster, the Pentagon made a choice that stunned the defense industry. For years, everyone assumed Lockheed Martin, the house that built the Raptor and the Lightning II, would build the NGAP fighter. They had the heritage, the stealth pedigree, and the active factories. Instead, President Trump handed the $20 billion contract to Boeing. They designated it the F-47 Phoenix. Why Boeing? Because they promised a clean sheet revolution rather than a safe, iterative design. The pitch was dazzling: a 1,000 nautical mile combat radius, significantly outranging the F-35, a variable cycle engine that changes its airflow mid-flight for peak efficiency, and a seamless design allowing the pilot to act as the quarterback for a squad of collaborative combat aircraft, or CCA drones. The pilot doesn't just fly, they command a fleet. They designate the targets from safety, and the AI-driven drones execute the kill. On paper, it is the perfect technological counter to China's overwhelming mass. But here is the brutal reality check. The contract went to Boeing. This is the exact same company that spent 2024 and 2025 mired in brutal scandals, financial hemorrhage, and relentless safety investigations. The Phoenix is supposed to rise from the ashes, but the company building it is still standing in the fire. Look at their recent track record. The KC-46 Pegasus tanker, critical for extending the range of American fighters, is years late and riddled with defects. Even more terrifying is the T-7 Red Hawk. This is the trainer jet meant to teach our pilots how to fly these advanced sixth-generation systems. It is failing to meet basic safety standards and facing chronic delays. This isn't just a boardroom accounting problem. It's a profound trust problem on the flight line. Former instructors went on record in 2026 with a brutal assessment. If they can't build a safe trainer, how can they build a sixth-generation stealth fighter? We have bet our national security on a manufacturing culture that has struggled to bolt doors on commercial airliners correctly. We expect them to flawlessly integrate AI, lasers, and adaptive engines into a plane that won't fly until 2028. Operational service isn't expected until the late 2030s. And remember, the J-36 is flying now. We are trading actual physical capability today for a digital promise of superiority tomorrow. In military aviation, that is a gamble that borders on reckless. But even if Boeing builds the perfect jet, a terrifying mathematical reality is waiting for us. Let's assume Boeing pulls off a miracle. The F-47 hits every deadline and performs exactly as advertised. We still lose, because you don't fight wars with pristine prototypes. You fight with industrial capacity. You fight with raw logistics. You fight with people. Right now, the US military is facing a double collapse of both labor and infrastructure. First, the Pilot Vanishing Act. By 2026, the US Air Force and the commercial sector are facing a crippling shortage of 24,000 pilots. We are building hyper-advanced jets that we physically do not have the human beings to operate. Commercial airlines are aggressively poaching our most seasoned military aviators with salaries the Pentagon simply cannot match. The result is a brain drain of experienced flight leads, the exact people required to command a complex quarterback system like the F-47. If we build 200 F-47s, but only have 100 qualified pilots, half our fleet are just expensive paperweights. Second, the factory collapse. The U.S. manufacturing base has a deficit of 460,000 skilled workers. This is the hidden rot inside the defense industrial base. We do not have the welders, the machinists, the electricians, or the specialized engineers to ramp up production, even if Congress wrote a blank check tomorrow. During World War II, America was the arsenal of democracy, because we could outproduce anyone. Today, that title has permanently moved across the Pacific. Look at shipbuilding as a proxy for heavy industry. In 2024, China's shipbuilding capacity was 230 times larger than the United States. One single Chinese shipyard, Jiangnan, has a larger capacity than every U.S. shipyard combined. That same relentless industrial juggernaut is churning out J-20s at a rate of 120 per year. China is on a wartime footing. They are building redundant supply chains and integrating civilian and military sectors into a single machine designed for mass production. The state directs the flow, and the flow is massive. The U.S., meanwhile, is in a death spiral. In the FY 2026 budget, the Air Force asked to retire 260 aircraft while buying only 45. This is the logic of a shrinking power. We are cannibalizing our present fleet to pay for a future jet that doesn't exist yet. We are getting smaller, older, and more fragile. China is adding mass and technology simultaneously. We are outmanufactured. But the Pentagon knows this, and they have a backup plan. A plan that turns the ocean into a literal minefield. The Pentagon isn't blind to the spreadsheet. They know they can't win a hull-for-hull production race against the world's factory. So, they are changing the game entirely. If we can't match China's mass, we have to match them with invisibility and chaos. Welcome to the dark mode strategy. The first pillar is the replicator initiative. Instead of relying solely on the expensive, delayed F-47, the US is pivoting to field thousands of attritable, cheap drones. The plan is to create a hellscape in the Taiwan Strait, a swarm of autonomous robots that don't need human pilots, pristine runways, or a $100 million price tag. The goal isn't to dogfight the J-36 one-on-one. It's to flood the zone with so many targets that the Chinese military runs out of missiles before we run out of drones. Quantity becomes its own unassailable quality. The second pillar hides in the freezing depths, the Orca XLUUV. This isn't a normal submarine. It's an autonomous robot the size of a city bus. It boasts a range of 6,500 nautical miles and can sit dormant on the ocean floor for months, completely silent. It doesn't need air or food, it just waits. Its payload, hammerhead mines, encapsulated torpedoes that lie sleeping on the seafloor until they hear the specific acoustic signature of a Chinese submarine. It allows the US to mine the enemy's own harbors without risking a single sailor's life. On the surface, we are deploying containerized lethality. The US is experimenting with hiding missiles in plain sight. Recent tests have shown standard shipping containers, the exact kind stacked on every cargo ship globally, retrofitted with hidden missile launchers. A harmless merchant vessel could be a warship in disguise, creating a targeting nightmare for Beijing. If every flat deck is a threat, the enemy has to hesitate. And in war, hesitation is death. Tying this entirely disparate web together is Project Overmatch. In modern war, turning on your radar is like lighting a flare in a dark room. You see the enemy, but they see you instantly. Overmatch uses laser communications to talk silently, whispering across the battle space in narrow beams invisible to Chinese sensors. The theory is brutal, but simple. The J-36 might be a massive hunter with huge radars and missiles, but it can't kill what it can't find. The F-47 isn't the whole team. It's just the quarterback for thousands of ghosts. But all of this relies on one critical factor that is rapidly slipping out of our hands: time. We are watching the greatest divergence in military strategy since the Cold War. China is betting on pure mass and power. The J-36 Sky Monster is a testament to an industrial base that can build big, build fast, and build many. It's a bet on flying battleships dominating through sheer kinetic force. The United States is betting on tech and agility. It's a bet that Boeing can engineer a miracle, that a swarm of drones can replace human pilots, and that software can defeat steel. But timing is everything, and this is where the abyss opens up. China could reach initial operational capability with the J-36 by 2030. The F-47 won't be combat ready until the mid-2030s. That leaves a 5-year gap, a window of absolute vulnerability, where China holds the 6th-generation advantage, the industrial advantage, and the overwhelming numbers advantage. Andrew Hunter warned us they could beat us to the punch. That warning is now a physical reality on a Chinese runway. The F-47 might eventually be the smarter, deadlier plane. But history teaches an unforgiving lesson. The best tank didn't win World War II. The most tanks did. In the race for the 6th generation, America is busy designing the future, but China is actively building it. And right now, the factories in Chengdu are running 24/7. The question isn't whether the F-47 will be a marvel of American engineering. The question is, will it arrive in time to matter? Is the F-47 too little, too late, or will tech innovation save us from the industrial abyss? Keep your eyes on the horizon. This is Jet Core.